Hi. I got an email from you that says join Zoom meeting, and then there's, do I write all those numbers down?
Hi.
Hi.
So are we going to do this later, or when are we going to do this?
We're recording right now. We got it. We're doing it.
Oh!
You're listening to
the SchultzCast.
The SchultzCast.
The SchultzCast. Welcome to the SchultzCast. Today is Sunday, October 4th, 2020. This is a podcast for our family and friends where we interview our family and friends. And here are your hosts of the SchultzCast, Samantha and Reed.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. We have an amazing show today because our guest is Gramma.
Hi, kids.
Are you ready for some questions?
Oh, yes, I am very ready.
What made you get started in being an artist?
Well, I always liked to draw, even when I was very, very young. Gigi always had a lot of paper around and always some crayons or pencils for me. She said it kept me busy and out of trouble. And when I was in grade school, I won some art contests, and I won some in high school. When I went to Kubasaki High School in Okinawa, my high school teacher, Mrs. Russell, encouraged me to apply to some commercial art colleges, which I did, because I was terrified that if I didn't do something I wanted, I'd have to be a secretary or a nurse. Those were girl jobs in those days.
What's a secretary? Yeah, what's a secretary?
A secretary is somebody that does typing and filing and helps the company's boss, does most of the hard work. I just didn't like to type. Gigi was a secretary, and she thought that I should be one too, and I was terrified of that.
I would like a secretary for my schoolwork so I could just play all day. What was some of your artwork? Do you remember any of your artwork that you drew?
Oh, of course. I probably remember most of it. Some of the work that I did in high school was scratchboard. That was one of my favorite things to do. Scratchboard is a piece of cardboard that has a very thin layer of either gesso.
What's a gesso?
Gesso is a white coating that's kind of a protective coating, and over top of this white substance is a coat of black India ink. And it's like working in reverse because you use a scratching tool and you lift the black ink off and white shows. So it's the exact opposite of using pen and ink.
Wait, it's kind of like the things we do at Panther Club. The black things, and then we take like a thing and like scratch.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. Then you already know how to do it. That's wonderful.
But it shows up like rainbow.
Okay, well, then that's got a different kind of backing on it. You're going to have fun with it. You're going to love it, Reed.
I'm going to make some real good scratches.
When I was in high school, that's when I did an advertisement for Pan American Airlines, which is no longer around. It was an airline that flew all around the world, and they had a contest for an advertisement to use in the Far East in a newspaper. And I did kind of a silly one, and they picked it. It had two girls sitting on the back of a witch's broom in black, flying through the night sky, and one of the girls said to the other girl, "I knew we should have flown Pan American."
That's pretty clever.
Pretty goofy, but they liked it. Probably my favorite piece of art was a pen and ink drawing of trees and different animals and wildlife peeking out throughout the trees. Unfortunately, it got stolen when my portfolio got stolen.
When your what got stolen?
My portfolio.
What's that?
It's your best artwork, and you keep it in a special folder. And I had all my college pieces of artwork in this folder and pieces of artwork that I did professionally. And when we moved from Washington, D.C. out to Indiana, somebody stole our car when we were staying in a motel. And in the trunk of the car was all my professional portfolio and my college portfolio.
That's really sad.
It was sad. It was very sad. That's the way it goes. Even the police went into dumpsters and stuff looking for it, but they never did find it. They never found the car either.
So how'd you get anywhere?
We were towing a Volkswagen.
Volkswagen is a type of car.
Oh, I thought they had a wagon and they sat in the wagon and they pulled themselves home. Is it really true that you took a helicopter to school?
Yes, it is. Now, it sounds a whole lot more exciting than it was, because I'll be perfectly honest, I did not enjoy it, and fortunately it wasn't for very long. I was living in the Philippines for 3rd and 4th grade because my father, your daddy's grandfather, was in the Navy. And we had first lived in Guam, and then we went to Puerto Rico, where Aunt Donna was born, and then we moved to the Philippines.
How long did you live in the Philippines?
Lived in the Philippines for 2nd grade, all of 3rd grade, and all of 4th grade till we started 5th grade, and we moved to Maryland then. So I was in 10 different schools, I think. See, what happened was we had moved from Sangley Point in the Philippine Islands to a new base called San Miguel. And the original plan for school children, because there were so few of us there, was to take a bus over this big volcanic mountain and go to another base to go to school until our school could be built. So there was an episode where, and if I say headhunters, it sounds really, really violent, but they had been headhunters many, many years before we moved there. Well, headhunters were people that way, way, way back, they would cut people's heads off and put them on sticks and that kind of thing. Long time ago. And an Australian man did something that made them mad, and they killed him. So it wasn't safe for us to take a bus. So they decided to load us onto helicopters in the morning and take us back to Sangley Point to our old school.
And Gigi was okay with this?
Gigi was okay with me taking a helicopter? Sure. It wasn't like a little helicopter, like it was a big one. And sometimes there were other military people on it, and they would take the mail. They didn't have Skype or email in those days, so everything had to be transported back and forth. So we were to go to school on this transport, but sometimes the timing wasn't right and we get to school late. And sometimes school got out at 2 o'clock for us, and we couldn't catch the helicopter back until like 4 o'clock. So it wasn't very much fun, and it was very noisy, and it was very smelly, and there were no windows.
Ew, that sounds terrible.
It was terrible.
Yuck.
And so they finally got a teacher to come out to our school. I was in the 4th grade, actually, and I had 3 students in my class, and I'm still in contact with one of them.
Who?
Bruce Ditloff.
Bruce, if you're listening, call in. We'd love to hear from you on the SchultzCast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky on this show. We have a special guest.
I'm here.
Grandpa! What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Well, it was pretty big, but I didn't really catch it. Probably about 30 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we were fishing, and I put a head of a fish on another line and stuck it in a rod holder and just let it set on the bottom, trying to catch a big grouper. And I hooked a large fish, and about 45 minutes or so later, we got it up to the side of the boat, and it was about between a 7 and an 8 foot nurse shark, which we were going to bring in the boat.
Wait. A shark? A nurse shark? You're lucky.
Yeah, they're not a bad shark. They don't eat people or anything like that. They just kind of feed on the bottom. and that. And so got him up to the edge of the boat, but there was no way we was going to get him in the boat. And of course, I didn't want to keep him anyway because he probably weighed about 350 pounds. So we finally ended up cutting him loose and let him go. And that was it. That's the biggest fish I've ever caught.
Wow. Like, you said 7 or 8 feet long?
Yeah, between 7 and 8 foot long. Yeah, it was huge.
That's bigger than you! That's like twice the size of you.
A little less, but yeah.
Twice the size of Mommy.
It's a lot more than twice the size of Mommy.
Yeah, that's big.
It's like 10 times the size of me.
So what was the fish, Dad, that you had hanging up in the house? Because in my brain, they were huge, but like how many feet was the biggest one?
Was it a pike?
It was a 30-pound plus salmon. It was a 10-pound plus steelhead. It's like a rainbow trout, except it's steelhead. It doesn't go out to the ocean. It stays inland. And then I had a 9-pound walleye.
Now, what was the biggest of those, like in length?
The salmon was probably, I'm going to guess, 3.5 foot long, maybe. A little over 30 pounds.
I thought the biggest fish you ever caught was that one that we had in the house.
Well, it was up until then, until I came down here. They grow them pretty big out here in the Gulf.
Wait, you caught your biggest shark, not fish. Shark is a fish. It is? Yeah, it's a type of fish. It has gills. Okay. It's a huge fish.
So I think the question is, when are you going to catch a bigger fish than that?
Well, I'm getting too old, and a lot of my friends are dying off and not being able to go fishing. So until I get a hold of Reed sometime, and I can take him fishing, and maybe we'll do better.
I might need your help reeling a fish in.
I don't think so. I'll just put a rope around his waist and tie him to the boat, and as long as he doesn't let go of the pole, he'll be okay.
350 pounds? You think you can get that one in, Reed?
He's not even that. He can't even pick up you or me. Well, he can't actually pick up me. I can give you a piggy.
All right, so I guess we're going to get down to Florida and help Grandpa catch a 351-pound shark.
Yes.
What would be fun sometime is to come up to New York and go out to, is it Lake Erie? That's up on upper part of New York?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Samantha.
learning about that in school.
Samantha just covered all the bodies of water that border New York.
Lake Champlain, there's the Hudson River, there's Lake Erie, there's the St. Lawrence River, and there's the Niagara River. What do you think the biggest fish when I'm there I'll catch?
Well, I don't know.
How long?
How long?
Do you think?
It won't be real long, but hopefully it'll weigh a lot.
No, hopefully it'll be long, but not weigh a lot. Yeah, so that I could reel it in. Well, it needs to be at least 351 pounds.
Well, you just don't catch them every day. You just comes along just once in a while. But we can try. Would you like to catch a stingray?
How?
Just stick your hands down the water and wave them around, and they come up and grab it. No, I'm just kidding you. Just go out fishing and fish on the bottom. Squid is what you use on almost all the fish around here out in the deep water. So squid is a good bait because it's an oily substance and the smell carries in the water real well. A lot of people use shrimp, live shrimp, on redfish and some of that stuff because redfish don't really bite on squid.
Well, if we were fishing with shrimp, we'd catch Mommy.
Yeah. That's all we have for today. Thanks to our guest.
Thank you very, very much for interviewing me.
Did you have fun?
Oh boy, did I have fun. I got to learn some more things about you while you were learning about me.
Do you think everyone should come on the SchultzCast?
Absolutely.
Thanks to everyone listening.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Bye.